Welcome back to the Unrelenting Pursuit podcast. We are so excited to be with you guys today with a very honorary, very temporary guest in the studio today. If you can hear her heavy breathing, we have our grandbaby with us in the studio for just a moment because I doubt she wants to answer a lot of questions. Do you?
Do you want to answer any questions?
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you're going to get a little visual of our 6-month-old granddaughter, and we thought she could make a little cameo since they are here while we're recording, and we are in full grandparent mode and enjoying every moment. All right, let's say goodbye to our little guest. Oh, she's eating the microphone.
Say bye.
Yep. She's like, no. We are in the third part of our 4-part series of attachment styles. And so we are very much looking forward to talking about our third style today. Grandpa is still fully focused on grandbaby, so it's going to take him just a second to adjust back into this. She has been so much fun to have here. It has been like the days, you forget how fast the days go with a baby. Just all the little things that have to be done in a day, and there's so many of you who are in this stage right now, but man, the littler they are, the more they require as far as just like, I need this immediately right now, stat. And she is a very curious little baby. So she is constantly wanting someone to do something for her. And it's like a team of us that are on duty. It's like, okay, grandpa, grandma, uncle, mom, and goes round and round in circles. And we're so honored to be in the middle of it. It's been a real privilege to be grandparents for these couple of weeks. And
I mean, we've been grandparents for 6 months.
No, but like to be able to be in the day to day.
Yeah.
But thank you for emphasizing. All right. So we are on our third of our 4-part. Like I mentioned, we've talked about anxious, we've talked about dismissive, and today we're talking about a fearful avoidant, which is, do you think you have a sprinkle of this one in you?
I mean, it says in parentheses, disorganized, so 100%.
So you just yes.
Have you seen my closet?
I feel as if your brain has taken a turn.
It has. I feel like you're condescendingly saying
I am not saying that at all. One day I came into the bedroom and your side table was completely like, it was like one day you were just like, this is going to be an organized side table. Yeah. I did change it.
I changed it back.
Yeah, and then you did. Thought my way looked better, but table. I let you have your thing.
Yeah. You kept putting a little light bulb on it. I didn't want
but I changed the way the books were.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I feel like you've been pushing towards like more of like, as you've been reading, you've turned on a different facet of your brain.
Just don't open either one of those drawers.
Oh, I have. And
you don't need to go in there.
No.
I'm not hiding anything.
There's nothing
I just don't know how you
can be placed in those drawers.
Yeah, I still have some room.
I don't, do you even know what's in them?
A little bit.
There's just
not really.
Listen. Since we're talking about disorganized, I mean, there's just things that just make me laugh. Like all of a sudden, Brad will just be like, I can't find my pants.
I couldn't.
Did you find them? Where were they?
They were in between some shirts.
Okay. I have, and I've mentioned this before, I have learned to not overly stress when you tell me that you've lost something, because I used to get anxious about it. And I'd just be like, okay, well, I got to go on the hunt. Yeah. And it would be like 2 days later. And then you'd be like, oh, I found it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're joking about being I don't think I have fearful avoidance.
No, I don't see as much of
it
you
just
in this,
says,
but it says disorganized.
With it. But I think it's more disorganized in your relationships.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I don't know.
So do you want to give kind of like for someone who's listening and wondering, am I this, right? And we're not talking about just disorganized in the closet, because that's a whole other kind of facet, but in relationships or even in your mind, do you want to kind of explain what is involved with this? Are you debating about whether you want to?
No.
Want to explain it? Yeah, no, we're not going to do that today.
No, I think it's really just afraid of closeness, of intimacy on like all the levels.
Yeah.
I think that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah. Like a deep desire for it.
You want it, but you're afraid of it.
Right.
Of all of everything.
Yeah. You had total distrust of that level of intimacy. But I think it plays out differently than in what we talked about last week, which is like, I can do it by myself. This plays out a lot differently, and kind of like a push and pull dynamic. It's like a draw close, pull away, draw close, pull away. That's what, why are you looking at me confused?
I'm listening.
Intense emotional swings is also involved in this. And I'm not talking about just that time of month, because I know some people are like, well, sometimes I do have intense emotional swings.
Or Latinas.
Did you really just say that?
Yeah.
You're just waiting to drop that. Okay.
That's for our good friends.
So conflict can also, with this particular attachment style, can feel very chaotic. And a lot of times associated with this particular attachment style, there's some level of trauma in childhood that's typically played out, that you have that chaos then in your adult relationships. Typically, there's a level of trauma in childhood.
Aren't all of these that?
I think they all have a level of something impacting them in childhood that you lean towards that. But I think trauma is a little bit of a different label than
this
some of
has
the others.
trauma with it.
That like typically you've gone through some level of trauma, and I mean, and it all depends on what your level or what your definition of trauma is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like it's overused now,
100%
and that's why I'm trying to be. I would say this has more of like an emotional, physical, some kind of trauma like that typically when it comes to this particular attachment style. Now, it doesn't have to be, but that a lot of times is what happens, is then that plays into you having that chaotic adult, fearful avoidant.
Yeah.
You're looking confused at me.
Well, I was waiting for you to explain more.
Oh, okay. Well, that was all I was explaining. It's just,
there's just trauma attached to it.
Typically. In childhood.
I feel all of them would have that. But I don't I know trauma is in everything. I think that it's, might as well just start stepping on more toes. Already did. But I think it's just overused so much.
Yeah.
And then it's like a friend of mine said, I'm not quoting him 100% on this, but he's like, your childhood doesn't matter anymore. Like, just stop. Right. I'm not quoting 100% on it, because it was just like,
you're giving the bluff, the bottom line up front.
Yeah. I'm definitely not, quoting word for word what he said, but that's what he was getting at, where so many people make so many excuses on so many things, and they just, it's because of my childhood. Oh, it's because of my my upbringing.
Right.
Blah,
and
blah,
at some point you
like,
have to own it.
Yeah. I'm
because
40,
it obviously matters.
Mid-40s. Like
you're past mid-40s, baby. You late 40s.
How old am I?
You're 47.
Okay. I'm 47. When I look in the mirror, I don't think that. So.
I'm mid-40s.
No, but I just, I'm not going to blame anything on my childhood. Not at this age.
And I think we have to be really careful, because I think there can be that where you have an attitude that doesn't impact me at all. And then there's the reality of saying, like, okay, it has impacted me, but it can't determine my direction.
Yeah, but I think that so many people, that's just the excuse of how they act. It's kind of like, we've talked about this before, where somebody does something, you're like, oh, well, that's just how they do. That's just what they do. And it's like, no, it's not.
You shouldn't do it.
That's not fine.
Yeah, none of these attachment styles should be an excuse for you to stay in a certain behavior. Like
You don't
all of
just
it
say,
should
like,
be.
oh, that's just the way they are.
Right.
Like that's not how it's supposed to be.
And I want to clarify on the trauma because I just usually it is associated with trauma, but it's unresolved trauma as they grow into adulthood. So yeah, you can experience trauma and end up with a different attachment style, but this is like specifically unresolved. You haven't done
This is way out of our lane, but can you resolve it by yourself? I mean, like, not necessarily by yourself, without another human. Can you resolve trauma? Right? Because are
you asking me, or are you going through?
I don't know. Is it rhetorical? I know it's out of our lane, but I feel like, you're a follower of Christ, so you're not doing anything alone.
Yeah.
Right? You go to prayer about everything, right? Not just fear and anxiety, but about, all things come to prayer with thanksgiving. But can I resolve trauma without the other person involved?
So like if there was like, let's say you had a parent that you had trauma with, and if you never walk through that with that parent, will you be able to heal from the trauma?
Yeah.
I think yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because what if that other person's passed away?
Yeah. And I think what it does is you're taking ownership of yourself then and saying, okay, you can look back and realize, like I said, the impact that they had on you. But in reality, you have to heal regardless of their behavior, regardless of what they
I think
did.
that's what I'm getting at, where it's like, okay, stop blaming your childhood. Like just, okay, I don't have a good relationship with so-and-so or so-and-so, this trauma, this and this and that. Okay, I get that. Yes, it did shape you, but now it's time to not worry about them. It's time to
what do you have to do?
What am I going to do so I don't have that anymore?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, well, let me go talk to the person. What if they're gone? What if, so.
Well, or they're not willing to look at themselves or assess how they did impact you, right? There's a whole myriad of things that, could be a reason why you could not resolve that trauma with that person. I mean, I know in the middle of our stuff, I really, like, God brought me to my own set of a crossroad, which it was like, okay, I wanted to be on the other side of whatever we were going through, whether it was divorced or we were married. I didn't want to be a bitter and discouraged woman. And I could see the crossroads of like going, okay, I have every right to be bitter and I have every right to be discouraged, or I can choose to, no matter what, come out on the other side. And that had nothing, we weren't battling through that with each other at all. This was like my own personal wrestling with God and, like just other resources. So I think you have to, if you're dealing with unresolved trauma, I think you have to look at it in the face and you have to start walking out healing. Because if you are a Christ follower, that is what God has for you. Yeah. And that is moving towards that secure attachment, which is what we will talk about next week. But that's in my opinion.
I mean, I'm just reading this thing and it sounds so exhausting to, like, if I, like, say you were fearful avoidant. It just sounds exhausting.
Someone who's a fearful avoidant right now is like, I'm sorry, Brad.
Well, no, I mean, it's, but like,
explain a little bit more about it. Cause
also you can change.
Yeah. That's what's so powerful about any.
You can change about any of these, but no, I'm just reading it. It's like push pull behavior, right? So that's basically,
pull you close, push you away, pull you close, push you away.
Distancing, which both those words are not good. Like, I don't want, like, you're not clingy.
What are you saying? Clingy?
Clingy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I felt like you were saying it weird.
You're not though, right? Like, I mean, I think we're healthy. Yeah. Right. We can always do better, but we're healthy. But, like, clinging is kind of like what our granddaughter is doing now. It's like,
that's true. You're not 6 months anymore. Yeah, exactly. It's not cute. It's not cute. It's not. What I think of clingy is you really see this a lot in dating relationships.
Yeah.
Where you'll see.
It's because there's no security.
There's no security.
Some
yeah.
people.
And so you end up seeing someone where it's like, I'm going to put a claim on this person. And it's almost where you're just like, you need to back off. Like it's not cute. And you do see this dynamic even in some marriage. Oh no, absolutely. In some marriages,
because you have the fearful avoidant. Yeah. I mean, but it's like that and or distancing, so the push pull behavior, intense emotional reactions. like
yeah,
that.
I mean,
right?
you're talking about that level of extreme highs and lows, right?
Yeah.
And so you're either very happy, which, going towards that clinging, or you're very sad, very angry, very, any of these things that are more of that, if you're thinking of a scale of green to red on emotions and you're in red on all of them, that gets to be dangerous,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like one of these is difficulty trusting others. I think like
Brad's like, there's my sprinkle.
it may be, right? But I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of trusting others. I'm not afraid of not trusting others. That makes sense. Like I'm
perfect.
I don't trust, there's people I don't trust because I feel that I have a level of discernment.
I was just going to say, I think you have a discernment when it comes to being able to see beyond the picture that someone paints for you immediately. Where it's like, okay, I don't believe who you say you are.
Yeah.
Right. And where I have a tendency to lean more into like, well, they just seem like a super great person.
Yeah.
And that's why it works well, I think, for us in a balance, because sometimes you do have to give someone another opportunity. And many times I also have to recognize.
I have given
yes, I know.
other opportunities, and it has always panned out with my initial.
Put your finger down.
My initial assessment of what was going on, because I feel that it's one of those, I don't want to get
spiritual gifts.
It is, but I feel like people use that so much,
But we can say how we mean it here, like how God gives us certain gifts and we're able to
and I've pushed against it, and I've been burned. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, God's like, I told you, like months ago, I told you. But no,
that initial feeling, don't listen to your wifey.
Yeah. Get behind me, Satan.
Okay. Wow. That just went like so next level in like one moment. I rebuke that. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, the extreme, highs and lows. And I think that obviously is never healthy in a relationship.
Here's what's crazy with this fearful avoidance is that they want safety, right? Like that's what they crave. They crave the intimacy, but they're afraid of it. They crave the closest. They're afraid of it. And then they'll push and pull and play these games because they don't know how to be like in a healthy relationship, right?
They're afraid of it.
Right? But then they're difficult trusting all those things, but then also the whole time they're actually going against their safety because they're just experiencing instability with everything because of them.
Yeah.
Right. It's not because of the other person. I mean, if the other person's, I don't know what else is normal. I don't know what else to say. We're not secure in their relationship. That person is just like a statue, and they're not feeling like anything's in state, this instability of what's going on. But then the other person has this fearful avoidant is just on the, bouncing back and forth on the spectrum of emotions. And I want to be close to you and I can't be close to you. I don't really trust you, but I want to trust you.
I'd be curious statistically whether like this fearful avoidant style does typically end up with a secure, because I feel like no.
Well, first of all, I was not playing matchmaker at all.
No. I'm just trying to think of how that would play out.
Maybe that's why I look at this and I'm like, this is exhausting to me. Mm-hmm. Not in a like I'm.
He's not trying to demean.
I'm not trying
anyone.
to demean it or make light of it. But when I'm attracted to you. I was attracted to all the things that you are and were, right? Like your personality, your characteristics and all. And there was no drama involved in it. There was no like crazy emotions one way or the other. It was just steady. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm drawn to. Like our son, right? He's like, I don't want the drama. Mm-hmm. Like that's something he's like our oldest son. That's something he's told us. He's like,
his theory, just so you know, more makeup, more drama.
I 100% agree with that. 100%. Agree. That is a solid assessment. That is 100%. There's no doubt.
I'm sorry for those of you that wear a lot of makeup.
No doubt. But you a bit crazy.
Okay.
No doubt. Just say.
So many things that have been said on here that just, wow. Okay.
I'm just saying. He's 100% right, but he's not drawn to that. There's people that are drawn to this.
Yeah.
They love this drama. They love this, man, I get tired thinking of it. Like my brain, I'm like, man, I could not.
It's because a lot of times I do think what's happening is a lot of games are being played. It's just that someone isn't thinking they're playing those games. Like this is the way that you're looking at life, right? And you are fearful of, this aspect of intimacy, right? It's like I'm always looking to be hurt. And typically it's because you have been hurt. And so it's not really a game to you. I feel like it's more of that testing of love that's happening. If it's a romantic relationship where someone's like, okay, well, I'll draw close and see how you react. And then I'll I'll pull back and see how you react. And it's because, that desire for safety is there so much. It's just played out in a way that actually hurts both parties. It's not helping, which is why it's so important to heal from unresolved trauma, because you don't want to have to be in those relationships where you're always feeling like you have to play games or that it's just that constant up and down, that highs and lows of the relationship, because it is exhausting. I think for both people, it's exhausting because you don't have that secure standing of, we have like that foundation that even if we're having the bad day, right? And it is, because of course you are going to have highs and lows in a marriage, of course. But in those moments, like you don't have that stability that you can stand on, it's like, which of course we're going to tell you is Christ. So there's that. But we're going to go down the 3 areas that this impacts. We've been going through marriage, parenting, and leadership. Which one do you want to start with?
Whichever one.
Parenting?
Yeah,
let's do parenting. All right. Tell me how this plays out in parenting.
And
parenting.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I think it would be, well, since you're going through these extremes, you would have inconsistency with how you're parenting. Yeah. Right? And kids crave security, consistency, security. Believe it or not, they crave rules, boundaries. Like that's what they crave.
Because it gives them security.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then you have a parent that's like this, and then it's just
always inconsistent responses gives this level of feeling like, I don't know how mom is going to react. I don't know how dad's going to respond. It's like sometimes they're like this, sometimes they're like that.
Yeah, and I think there's a level of that in parenting, period, but coming more from, because I'm sure our kids have said it, like, or like I've always told them, kind of read the room before you ask a question, or, understand what's going on, like have that emotional intelligence of what's going on before you just fire off with whatever's burning in you, right? Like, especially if it's an ask. Yeah. We're, open door policy parents, right? So anytime the kids want to come talk to us about whatever, they can come talk to us about whatever. It's fine. I'm not talking about that. I mean more of like asking, can I do this weekend? Or, can you make this? Can you do this? Those things where there's times where if you ask that, the response isn't going to be what you want it to be. That's not because you're fearful-avoidant parent. It's just because you're a parent and there's things going on, and it's just not the right time. And timing matters. Yeah. That's what I mean by reading the room, emotional intelligence, and all those. But with this, I think it's inconsistent in the sense of it doesn't matter what's going on. Like this parent is just
inconsistent
all over the place, right? And I just,
it's like I don't know why I want to say Sally, using this Sally as an example.
Sally,
but, the name exactly. I don't know why I want to use that as a name, but like let's say Sally comes up to the mom and says like, "Hey, can we go play at the park today?" And one day mom is like, "Oh yeah, that's going to be amazing. We'll love it." And then the next time she comes, it's just like, no, we're not going to the park. Da, 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 da. And it's just like angry, and there's no like levelness, like where you can have an explanation. It's just like highs and lows. Yeah. And so the kid never feels like I have that, you know, there's just that stableness of, at least my parents always going to give me a rational response. And I agree with you. There's a level of parenting always that there's going to be some time where your response is not great. It's going to be there. Obviously.
Yeah, it's not great, but I think that as a parent, even if you're, you know, it's been a long week, a long day, whatever it is, there should always be a why behind your response. Not that you have to give it, but if you feel like it needs to be there, then you do that. Because you've laughed. I've told the kids, like, I've said something, they're like, why? And I was like, because I said so. You know, but it's, you know, I'm being funny, and also like, I don't want to talk anymore. Yeah. But if it really came down to it, I would give an answer. It wouldn't just be because I said so. Like I think that's a cop-out answer for any parent, honestly. You know, I think that,
and I've definitely fallen into it before.
Absolutely, we all have.
Yeah,
100%. And I think as I've grown is where I've realized, like, I don't want that in my career. I don't want someone to tell me something and then I'm like,
not have a reason.
Like, why are we doing that? You know? Well, no, it's because I said we're doing that, so do it. Like, that's someone I'm not going to follow. I won't follow them.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be forced to follow them because of what's going on, but in all actuality, that's not the person that I would, you know, run into the fire with, basically, right? Because, like, what do you mean, man? Like, it
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't have
like,
buy-in.
Yeah, and so like with the kids, like I'm always ready to give a response if they want to keep asking why, which usually they do, because you know it's like, I don't really want you to do that.
We're in teenage,
why?
young adults,
and then it's like, okay, this is why, you know. So I think you know parents get it trapped into that because they're like, I'm the parent, I could just say no, but I think you should have a reason, not that you need to give it to them. But also, like, it just builds a healthy communication with your kid that at some point he's not going to ask why. And I think that's where I've tried to relay to the kids. It's like, and you've even said it, if I've said no, there's a reason why I'm saying it. It's not just because I don't want them to have fun or to go out with their friends or, you know, whatever it is. No, there's a reason why I'm like, you don't do that. I've sat the kids down and had talks with them. Like, I don't think you should do this. Because of, you know, and I start giving my arguments, for lack of a better term, you know, and they end up agreeing because then they see it from another perspective and they're like, yeah, you're right. Or they're like, you're right, but, you know, like, let me go do this. And it's nothing, you know, dangerous or immoral or anything like that. It's just that we're put on this earth to, like, if you have kids, you're put on this earth to help them and train them up, disciple them. And so I'm going to do that. And there's times where I'm like, I don't think you should be doing that. You know?
Well, it's kind of like that. We kind of grew up with the just don't have sex.
Yeah.
You know, like, just don't. But there was never a why behind it. And so the buy-in is not there in the same
why
way.
was always like, this is the list of rules that Jesus laid out. If you step outside this, you know, you get hit by a bus, like, that's
just hit by a bus.
You're gone, right? I mean, that was, and whether that was super intentional or not, that was just how I perceived everything, because there was no real why, you know. And now, like, our kids, it's like, hey, you don't be doing that. And it's like, why?
Here's why.
Well, let me tell you why. And yes, there's biblical responses to why. But also there's these other practical, like, you know, the Bible follows practicality, right? So, I mean, it's like, yes, this is intertwined in what we're going to tell you. Why? You don't just have to be a faith-based person, though, to see that this is not good for you to do these things.
Absolutely. You know? Well, and I think, you know, back to the fearful avoidant, that disorganized attachment style with kids, it does create just a level of confusion around any kind of emotional stability. And so you have to be so careful. If this is something that you naturally lean into, this would be my encouragement, that you don't let your unresolved trauma become your kid's unresolved trauma.
Yeah.
Because when we don't deal with our stuff, we do set a pattern for our kids.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that they're seeing played out. And so I just would encourage anyone, if this is, you can recognize yourself in this, is to just work on healing. And also that it's not too late. You know, I think a lot of times when someone sees themselves in this or in their parenting and they're like, well, man, I already have kids that are this age, or even adult kids, is knowing that I don't think it's ever too late to own where you're at and to change behavior and let the people around you see that. And when someone is healed emotionally, man, you really do see transformation happen in their relationships. So it's so worth going after, is like, let other people see the things that God can do and how he brings a healing that only he can bring. So just a word of encouragement, I think. I
was going to ask you this for marriage. Do you think that you had some of this when we were reconciling? Because
I mean, probably so, based on like a level of trauma. I don't know if more of this or the anxious one. I'm not sure.
Well, because like an example is a deep desire for closeness, but distrust of it.
Yeah, unequivocally, that was definitely something that I felt. I mean, it's very odd when you're going through, and I think that's why this is specifically more around trauma, is that you kind of are fighting that mind-body connection always, where that desire for safety being so great, and yet your mind and body are not responding the way that you necessarily want them to, and or wanting to be in two different places at once. Like even when you were in the middle of a lot of deception, I wanted to believe you, even though I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's just, so it's like a lot of conflict within yourself. So I can definitely see it more on the marriage side of things for myself walking through trauma, that this played out for a season. And I think that is kind of the thing for you to pay attention to, is how these different attachment styles play out in various relationships that you have. Because you could be secure in, let's say, relationships, in friendships. Yeah. Right. But in your marriage, you're playing out something different, or in your parenting, you're kind of leaning into some of those things that you wouldn't let other people see within you, or you haven't paid attention to. So I can definitely see a season of me walking through more of this type of attachment style for sure.
Yeah.
That answer your question? What else? Yeah. What else is in the marriage side of it?
I mean, the emotional swings, like intense emotional swings.
And I'd say there was a season even for that we went through that.
Yeah, we talk about
because
we got
more heated, more
spicy, or like, I don't know.
Spicy sounds kind of nice. I wouldn't say
sounds sexy.
Okay, I wouldn't say spicy.
Yeah.
No, I think it was just definitely, we were at a place where both of us were kind of, like, if I look on that emotional scale, like we lived in the yellow more than the green. And so it was like we could go to red really easy on things versus where typically we land more in that green.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
we might get to yellow, but we're not going to red.
Yeah.
And so I think we were just both at a very, I want to say volatile, but aspects of it for sure in that healing process.
I mean, like conflict could feel chaotic when you're like this. I mean, I don't think any of these attachment styles welcome conflict, but maybe you just look at it in a more logical sense if you're not fearful or disorganized. I think that, like, I look at that disorganized piece as like mentally, where it's just your
constantly almost being pulled in two different directions.
Brain is just going all over the place. And so, conflict, if you pull, push, cleaning, of disengaging, all those things, then the conflict would be
the most scary thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because at that point, conflict can seem like it could be the end. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, okay, well, we disagree on something.
Yeah.
That's it. like this person, we're done. Or, you know, allowing your mind to take you basically to all the worst case scenario places. And, you know, it just begins to overtake. And so there's never any, like, I'm not working towards resolution. It's almost like I'm working towards, like, I'm trying to think of the right wording, but it always feels like you're just one step away from things just being final, you know, like, okay, like this is going to be it. So, I mean,
do you think in that sense that in terms of reconciliation, that really is, it could be a phase in your marriage that you're fighting to keep where both of you are falling into this?
I think as we're going through this and really thinking about our particular situation or crisis in a marriage, that I definitely see us in this space for that season.
Yeah, because I mean, I would think there was definitely times where you're pulling closer together, and there's times where you're just kind of pushing away, disengaging.
Yeah, fearful of the intimacy because it seems like, you know, you don't trust. And
no trust. Yeah.
And so in that point, it's like, okay, well, I want to be close to you, but I'm scared to be close to you. And so I definitely think in some level of crisis in a marriage that this is going to play out for a season. And I think the nice thing about it is to know that you can heal from that. Like, you don't have to stay in this attachment style in your marriage, because there were definitely moments in that season where both of us, I think, probably felt like, man, it's not going to get better. Or like, can we make it?
Yeah.
Even though we had determined that we were going to.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was just thinking right now, I think because of the word fearful, do you think that this is also the same realm of, you know, because when you meet people that are afraid of just generally afraid, like, and as I'm talking, someone's listening, they're like, yep, I know exactly who you're talking about. Do you think that they fall in this? Because
maybe.
Right? Because I mean, like, I just think about all the time, like, they're afraid to go to the park because of whatever.
Does it fall under anxious or fearful? I think that's where I would probably, you'd have to do a lot more digging to find out. Like,
both.
But yeah, I mean, anxiety and fear live hand in hand for sure. And I mean, I think you'd have to see kind of how they respond in other aspects.
Because I feel like even in parenting with this, I don't know if it says it, but I would think that you'd almost get to a point of you're over, like over connection with your kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you can,
you know,
that's that push and pull dynamic, right? Where I'm like overly connecting and then also completely pulling away from them. And I think that that's what's playing out in probably all of your relationships is, you know, like, oh, okay, like we're super great. And then we're not great. Right.
And you could see like how bad this would be just, I mean, of course, in marriage and parenting, I mean, also in leadership. And I like the leadership side of it just because, not for your career, like if it helps you in your career, great. But I mean, as a husband, we're supposed to lead our family. And I've met plenty of guys that are afraid of so many things that they'll avoid, you know, all the things, right? Because they're afraid of so many things. And I think that, I mean, that's literally fearful avoidant, right? That's what this falls into. And in leadership, and I say that loosely because I think you're just in that position automatically, right? So not necessarily that you're leading or have leadership, but you're by default in this position.
You have
in a
some
marriage.
sphere of influence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
as like a husband,
this is where you're supposed to be, right? So no matter, even if you're not doing it, you're still sitting in that, at that position, right? I've met plenty of people, they should never be in leadership positions and they're sitting there. And that's in a, you know, office space kind of deal, right? But at home, you're defaulting into these roles. Like these are the roles you're supposed to be in. And when there's a lot of conflict in your marriage, it's a lot of it has to deal with the roles are reversed or
someone's
uneven,
or someone's not actually doing the things that they're supposed to be doing.
And that's why they're reversed and uneven and all those things. But like in leadership, it says reactive under stress which I know that sounds kind of like, well, you're supposed to react under stress. But I think what it's saying is that
overly reactive.
No, it doesn't say overly reactive. It just says reactive, right? But I think that you're not logically looking at what stress is, right? There's stress. Stress is every day. There's stress.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily look at it as a bad word, right? Like
I think I always look at stress as more of a negative word, but yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be.
Look at you worked out today, right? So you put stress on your body.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a bad thing.
No, I mean, I think it's helpful to think about it. It's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be. We're always under some level of stress. It's our capacity to handle stress that has to.
Yeah, there's stressors all around us. You can't get rid of any stressors. You can try to push everything out of your life, but there's always some kind of stress. And I don't look at it as necessarily a bad thing, like I'm saying, but reactive to that is, I think you're making sole decisions based on what the stress is doing to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Where like we're all reactive to stress, but my decisions have to be like level and logical and, for said stress that's coming out. Like I can't just go, you're stressing me out, and I just react this emotional reaction.
Right. You're fired because you stressed me out or in a marriage or whatever, any kind of leadership thing where it's like, oh, okay, well, you've created an extra stressor for me. So now I'm done with you for the day. Or, like any of those things aren't going to be obviously helpful in your marriage or in leadership. But one thing I was going to say about you, when I've seen it highly intense, stressful situations, when I've been around you in those, it's always been surprised me that you actually get more calm. And I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but you actually de-escalate the emotion, and so it's interesting to see your response versus, I wouldn't say that I am like overly reactive.
No.
But there have been times or moments in high stress in our marriage where I definitely lean more into the emotion, and I see you get more solid in those places. Yeah. And it's just very interesting to see how that plays out in reaction and in stress, and how you react versus how I react, or men and women in general.
Is that my ADHD brain? I wonder.
I don't know. You'll have to find out. I don't know.
To be continued. I don't know.
I think that you have had a lot of training under high stress situations that allow you to handle it in a way that it's almost muscle memory for you versus for someone like me. I'm not in muscle memory. I'm more reactive in that.
I look at stress. I look at different stresses differently, right? They're all different, but there's a I react to them. I'm trying, like, let me think. So I'm thinking of all the situations I've been in. Yeah. I react to everything very, very, not relaxed, just very focused, right? But a lot of times the stressors that really get people like wrapped around and they get excited about it, whatever, it doesn't really get me to that point, because I look at a lot of things as, is this going to kill me or somebody else?
But however, you do not want to call doctors' offices.
No, I don't like to call them. But I think that's me being introverted. There's things I don't like. Traveling to Guatemala, we're at the airport, and there is a barista. It's a machine, like a robot arm. And I went in and like said exactly what I wanted, and scanned the thing, and the robot arm's doing all the work, and then just hands me the cup, and I'm like, this is perfect. I don't want to talk to anyone right now. Like, I'm coming to the robot, right? So I think that's, a lot of those, it's not that I stress like, oh my gosh, like I'm so freaking out about it that I don't want to do it. If I have to do it, I'll do it. I just would rather not. Maybe that is a reaction to stress, but overall I look at things in that sense, right? Like I was put in this different position in my work, and it's very busy. I wear a lot of different hats. This is not like patting myself on the back by any means, because I'll joke around with other guys and I'm like, I know there's things I'm dropping, but also the things that I'm not dropping are the very important things, right? Like there's going to be something down the road and I'll be like, oh shoot, I probably should have done that. That's fine. I can fix it now. Not a big deal. The big deal things are getting taken care of, and it's not an issue. But also all the things I'm dealing with on a day-to-day are not these tactical decisions that could cause life or limb damage, right? And so I'm very just not blasé in what I'm doing, but just very level-headed and like,
well, if you compare everything to loss of life or limb, it helps you to evaluate life differently.
Maybe people should start doing that more. And I'm not saying that, like, I don't face these things every single day. Like, no, that's not.
I'm just saying if you evaluate your stress.
But that's level. A lot of how I do it. Like, because ultimately that's what it really comes down to. Right? Like, that's a lot of it. And
eternity.
I'm not minimizing people's stress and how they react to stress. I'm just saying, like, man, you can handle it a lot better. One, prioritize your walk with Christ, right? I just wrote this in my journal the other day. I think that since I've prioritized my walk with Christ for a long time now, but since I've been, really getting in the Word and also, extra reading and all these things I'm doing, I felt that I've grown emotionally a lot more than I have in the past, where I'm starting to see a lot more, like being more empathetic maybe, or seeing different perspectives and understanding that I don't need to get mad even when I'm, quote unquote offended or something set me off. Like I'm not really in those spaces, but I think that's nothing to do with, it's just me prioritizing my walk with Christ and really trying to lean into what he wants me to do.
That's what we are trying to encourage people though, is that you can always move towards that secure attachment. You can always move towards something different than what it is that you naturally lean into. And that's powerful to remember. When you're dealing with in leadership, that aspect of really reactive under stress, then you also have a tendency to swing back and forth, even in leadership where you're either over controlling or you are disengaged, right? That's kind of the...
Oh yeah, there's so much in a micromanager. And if there's any micromanagers, I'm sorry about what I'm about to say. But micromanagers, they manage out of fear. It really is. I mean, they might not be afraid, right? But if they just take a step back and like, why am I micromanaging? Well, I'm having control issues, and I'm afraid if I let those go, that X is not going to happen, right? And oh man, I've briefly been under micromanagement, and in my world that does not work. That's why it's brief.
It really does not work in any world well.
No,
I mean it's very difficult to, and also what you're doing is you're limiting the gifts and leadership of the people that are around you. And if you think about that, even from a marriage standpoint, right? If you're in the leadership position in your marriage and you're limiting the people around you, right? Like because you're such a micromanager that you never let them grow. You never let them step into the aspects that God's gifts that he's given them, right? And does that come with a risk of failure? Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, but that's part of growth, right? That's part of us learning to walk out our faith, I
almost look at it right now as in the parable of the talents in Matthew. And I just really, not that it just hit me that I feel like this is what it is, where the one guy that was so afraid of the master took the talent he was given and buried it. And then when the master showed back up, he brought it back, and it was the
I
same
have what
amount.
you gave me.
Like, I have exactly what you gave me.
Yeah,
and he's
so
like,
true.
He was so disappointed and,
Gave
disgusted.
what he had given him to others.
He's like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? And then just kind of dismissed him out. Like, he didn't do what he should have done with him. Right. That's micromanaging.
So true.
Where like, I'm so like, I can't let this go. I want this to succeed so bad. I'm so afraid of failure. I'm so afraid of losing this. I'm so afraid of all these things. I'm just going to bury it and sit on it, and I'll be fine because it's not going to go away. Yeah.
And you bury the people around you. That's what's so crazy is, you end up like with wreckage around you because of the fact that you try to control it.
I love that parable in and of itself is talents. I know in other translations it's translated differently, but I like the talents one because I think it's talking about money, right? But really,
if you could,
it's talking about your skills and talents also, right? Like, God's giving you these things. Spoiler: the master is God. You were one of the people that were given talents. Don't bury your talent. But he gives you these things to flourish, right? To multiply. And if you're just sitting on what he's given you, not multiplying, not doing those things, and then you come back, you're like, look, I'm the same. Like, I wasn't bad. Like, I'm the same as you were when you left. And
same as when we started.
What are you talking about? Like,
I didn't make you to just be the same.
I gave you all these things and you did nothing with them.
Right. Oof.
Right. Like, how can we walk through this life being so fearful and avoiding things and doing all these things that I'm not going to step into the talents that God's given me, use the skill set that he's given me, that I've worked hard to hone, and then just keep them for myself?
Not healthy.
No, it's not healthy at all.
Yeah, and that plays into with the over control and disengagement, just a general distrust of like team members. Yeah, and
because everyone's out to get you. Everyone's out to fail. Like, and so then you're just like, I don't trust anyone. I have to do this myself. Yeah, it's a horrible place to be in. But put that leadership into your marriage.
That's what that's what I keep thinking of is, man, you have someone who's in that, male or female. Right. Because either way, you have a direct impact on how it is that your spouse is thriving too. And so even from the female perspective, if you're like, okay, I'm controlling, dominating, right. And then also like just disengaged and constantly micromanaging, even in your marriage, like this is going to be really, really destructive to your marriage. And it will,
the spouse has got to be like, what do we got today? Like, who's going to be there today?
Ooh,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you wake up, it's like,
well, what's out of the bed you waking up on?
Yeah. Like, come on.
And then you get into that place of where, typically with a spouse, they're walking on eggshells, trying to just, hopefully help someone to be on in their best side of themselves, right? Don't disengage. Don't do this push and pull thing. Like, well, I like it when you're pushing or pulling me close, but I don't like it when you're pushing me away. Yeah. And so you're kind of constantly, you inadvertently become a participant in a game you never wanted to play.
Yeah.
That is a scary place to be. And I think a lot of people in the spouse relationship, that's what they're doing is it's like, man, I never even wanted to play this game. Mm-hmm. But now if I don't play the game, I'm constantly in the same space of having to try to figure out why it is that my spouse is all of a sudden pushing me away. And so you just want to be, like I said, if this is where you feel that you naturally lean towards, that this would be my challenge for the week. Our challenge for the week is that you look at that in the face and start doing what it takes to heal from that, unresolved trauma that you have in your life that has bled into you responding in this way to the people that you care about the most in your life. And it's worth doing. And God's big enough to do it. So there you have it. All right. See you next week.